Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Clinton and I'm a coach based in Johannesburg, South Africa. What I wanted to do today was I wanted to talk about something slightly different on this channel. The lessons that I wish I knew when I started writing my book. Now, last year I published my first book. It was self-published. I often get questions from individuals that know me, some that have just met me. They want to know the process that I went through. And I'm not going to go too much in detail around the actual writing process, but I will share a link to a useful platform that I used in the book writing process, which I think could be beneficial for everyone. So stay tuned till the very end. But really what I wanted to do was just share some of the lessons that I learned, some of the key lessons that I learned. So the first thing that I wanted to share was that you need to know who you're writing for. For me, it was really about writing for the person that I was 10 years prior to when I started writing the book. Because having that person front and center helped define and shape the content for the book, and it was a useful reminder as I was writing the content to think about all the steps that I'd taken to get me to the point that I was at when I started writing the book initially. Think about who is it that your audience is, who's your target market, and that's going to help you define the content, but as well as the overall message that you're looking to land with individuals. The second thing that you're going to consider is whether you want to go the self-publishing route or whether you want to go with a publishing firm. Now, for me, I was advised by someone who's written quite a few books that I should rather go with the self-publishing route, especially as a first-time author, and I know that. And so I'm going to speak about that now, and it's essentially understanding that going a self-publishing route is not as complicated as it sounds. Really what you want to do is think about getting someone, after you've written your manuscript, is getting a professional editor, as well as getting someone who is going to help you lay out the content for that book. I found a professional editor through my network, and I would strongly advise that you do go and find a professional editor, because they're going to help shape and refine the content and your message to really get it to a point where someone else would want to read that content. And the second thing is when you get to the layout of the book, I went with a company called Fiverr. You can find them online. It's fiverr.com. And I found a designer on there. It was really not an expensive exercise to find someone that would lay out all of the content. Cost of the editor as well as the designer cost me around about 15,000 Rand. In total, that was around about $800 or slightly above it, depending on the exchange rate. Those are my two major costs. So if you do go with a publishing firm, then they will absorb those costs and you don't need to worry about that. But of course, the process is a lot more complicated. So you may want to do your research around going with a publishing firm, but understand that there's a lot of complexities involved in that. And the chance of you as a first-time author getting a book deal is not impossible, but it's very slim. The third thing is, as you're writing your content, don't worry too much about it being perfect. Now, I am a perfectionist, and every time I wrote something, I was wondering whether, what someone else was going to think about it. And the course that I did suggested that I write a vomit draft first. And a vomit draft is essentially exactly what it sounds like. So you're going to write your first draft and not worry at all about the content contained within those pages that you're writing, because no one's ever going to see that. It's never going to see the light of day. And the trick is to write that vomit draft, write the whole book, however many pages or however many words you're aiming for, whether it's 20, 30, 40,000 words. And once you're done, then go back and start editing it. But don't worry at all about that first draft. You really want to just get the content out there. And the fourth thing was really consistency. And that was ensuring that every single day that I was committing to writing a certain amount of words. So for me, it was about writing 250 words every single day. And 250 words really isn't a lot. It's slightly more than a longish paragraph. Writing that took me not more than 15 to 20 minutes. And I committed to that every single day. So I would write 250 words, and I would often go above 250 words. But I ensured that I never wrote less than that. And the process of doing that was not that complicated, because all you would do is you would just carry on from where you were the day prior. And over time, over a couple of months, you will then get to 20, 30, 40,000 words. So it's not about thinking about, I got to write this whole book, but it's really about making consistency a habit of getting down to writing content every single day. The fifth thing is, when you're writing, write as though you're writing to a smart 12-year-old it's really important to focus on clarity and understanding rather than trying to sound too smart. And a great app that you can use to do this after you've written is called the Hemingway app. And it's online, it's completely free. So you can take the content that you've written, you can paste it into this app, and it'll tell you exactly at what level the writing is and whether there's any kind of changes that you need to make or whether it's extremely confusing. The sixth thing is that length does not matter. And what I mean by that, you don't have to want to worry too much about how long your book is going to be, but rather you want to make sure that you're getting the right amount of content in there without it necessarily being too long. How often do you hear about someone saying after they read a book that, oh, I wish this book was longer? No, it's often the opposite. It's often the book was a little bit too long. What they said could have probably been said in about half the amount of pages. So it was an important reminder to me in ensuring that when I was writing my content, I rather wanted to focus on saying what I needed to say in the least amount of words possible. Obviously being able to get the message across, not worrying too much about the length, but rather how concise and how clear was I as I was writing. The seventh thing is the marketing. And this is really once you're done with the book, because the truth is books are not going to sell themselves, especially when you go the self-publishing route. Because if you do go with a publishing firm, then they're going to help you market it, and they'll typically have a launch for the book. They might invite journalists, etc., etc. If you're going the self-publishing route, you really need to do your marketing for yourself. What I unfortunately didn't do as much as possible was build up some momentum before I launched the book. And what I would do differently if I had to write the book again, or if I had to write a second book, was really have some sort of momentum that you build up to a launch. Because there's a lot of evidence that says that if you do want to get on a bestsellers list, then it's really not about the amount of books you sell, but it's really about the velocity at which you are selling those books. So not to say that you need to strive to become a best-selling author, but really about ensuring that you put a lot of focus and effort in the initial launch of the book, but also in ensuring that you are getting as much word of mouth out there. And a great way to actually market your book is to get reviews. Get as many reviews as possible. Before you've published your book, send your book out to a few people that you know. Get them to write a review on the book, because you can use those blurbs in the marketing of your book. Once the book has been published, you want to get them to post reviews on Amazon or whatever website you have. But ultimately, writing a book is a big commitment. But as I said, everyone has a book in them, and it's important to get that message out there. Having done it, I've learned a lot, and I suppose doing it again, I would certainly do potentially some things differently. As I've shared in this video, there's some learnings that I've gone through. What I would suggest is that if you haven't considered writing a book, maybe consider, what would that message be? What would you want to put out there? What story do you want to tell? Hopefully this video has changed your mind around considering actually becoming an author, because it is possible. Follow someone that has done it before. And I signed up for a course at the beginning of my journey, which I'm going to post down in the description. And this is completely free. I don't earn anything from it, but I really wanted to share something of value because I got value out of it, and hopefully it'll help other individuals that are considering writing their book. Take you through the whole process of how to write the book, how to publish it, some suggestions around marketing as well. So if you're interested in it, check the description. It's completely free. There's no affiliate or anything whatsoever. I don't earn any revenue out of it. I just wanted to share it with everyone because I got value out of it. Hopefully this has all been useful for you. And if you have anything that you would like me to cover further that wasn't covered in this video, please post it down in the comments below. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all again next week, Wednesday.